like how to create form, how to validate the forms, how to add any pages, right? So
Yeah.
now we will see how we can play with the data. So right now, if you see, let me open the other projects so that it would be easier. It's got speed. If I start my application of my last class, what we have done, we done how to create a form, how to validate a form, then how to call an API, get API, and populate the data in, I would say, card manner or in uh, tabular manner, right? And then we learn how can we include our uh, different components and to make our applications, right? And we also learn regarding the routing, right? Like how
Yes.
can we create the routing? These were I would say these were the things mainly uh, these were mainly for the static website. Other than this data are coming from some API, but still these were the all the data were statically drawn, right, from some place or from some other. It was only for the one pages. But in real world application would not be like this. Okay, it would be somehow different than this. What? I mean, we have to play with the data, right? And in order to play with the data, or in order to pass data from one place to another place, React give us, I would say, two very important features. One is props, props props, and second is, I would say, it is context or Redux. We can use Redux, okay. But since with React 16.8, uh, React says React give us a new hook that is called uh, use context hook that do the work which was earlier been done by the Redux. Okay, so now we can what Redux used to do, it used to make the data available for the different component irrespective of the relationship, and that we can do with the, I would say, with use context. So we will learn all those things. First of all, if we want to save anything in our local storage, how we can do that thing. Means, suppose if you are getting some, I would say, some data from some APIs, right? Or if you are login, if you are logging into any systems and you are getting some response, right? You are getting some response. So and those response you want to store somewhere. For example, if we say this API, okay, and what we have done, we when we hit this thing, when we hit register, sorry, I've done mistake. When we do login, what happened? One API used to get called, and from there we get some data, right? Okay, we have to click here. We get some data. Now this data, okay. Now from this API, we may get something what we may get token or any unique identification which will identify my whole applications. Okay, so you can store in browser memory where there are two, I would say, most common place where you can store. One is local storage, second is session storage. You can use some other in memory also, but these two are very basic or very important, I would say, memory storage which all browser have. They generally range from 5 to 10 MB. With lower RAM, the memory would be lower, but with higher configuration or with your good configuration laptop, it would be a 10 MB in size. Okay. So what we can do, once we log in, we can store this data. Okay. Some data, it can be an auth code, it can be a token, or it can be some kind of ID, so that we will need. for rest of the application to tell, okay, I have been logged in and let me do some other work. What kind of work? First, let us store this thing in local storage, okay, and then we will see what will happen. So what I will do, I will go to my previous projects, okay, last day project, and do some change. What change? First of all, yeah. First of all, instead of this dashboard, I will make this as my landing page, okay, and then check whether a user has been logged in or not. Okay, so how can we do that thing? First, let us do with a traditional way or the wrong way, and then we will collect everything. Okay, so we have this router. I will not touch this router. We can do it here also, but I will not touch it for now here. Uh, but here, what I will do, instead of this dashboard, I will make my login page as my dashboard. Okay, and change the name of the dashboard into this. Okay, I change it to dashboard. And then in menu also, what I will do, I will do a slight change. What change? Instead of this, I will make this as dashboard, and for login, I will keep it as login. Okay. So now when I rerun the application, what mistake I have done? Okay, no route has been attached with flash log. Let me see. Okay, let me do it. Okay, okay, that is fine. That is fine. I have to remove this log. Right. What I did, I simply removed. I simply made this page as my landing page. Okay. And what I will do, I will check whether he is logged in or not. If he is logged in, then only he can see this page or this menus can appear. Okay, this three menu will appear only if a user is logged in. Understandable? So what we will do? There are multiple way, right? There are multiple way you can do it through local checking. I mean, having some data in the local storage, and you can check it through this. You can check it through session storage or some kind of hook. I will tell you the hook way at last. First, let us check with local storage, since it's a very easy one, and we can complete this in within few seconds. Okay, so what happened, what we will do, whenever we will log in, whenever we do a login and we get some data from some APIs, for our case, this is the post data. Okay, and when we get the data, we will store the ID in local storage, and then whenever we click at any menu, we will check whether those IDs are present or not. Okay, if it is present, then only I will show this menu. So for that, we need to we need to we need to check whether he is authenticated or not. Let I is of equal to Page of that item. And I will oh, look, const, that should be store. Let me see why it's not coming. L should be small. I have used. So what I did, I am just checking whether it's authenticated or not. Let me put it inside a use effect. Okay. No, let it be. Let it be. We are not doing anything. Let it be. And then what I will do, let me log this thing. What we get? I think we will get undefined. Okay. Since we haven't added anything. So when I rerun this application, okay, and then I see the logs, you can see it's null, right? Because there are no data in our local storage, hence we are getting null. So what I will do, I will give a check here. How we can give an if statement or check statement in React? Let us see. If in React, okay. See, you can do it either by creating some kind of function. From there you can do, or the second way, let me see whether it has any examples or not. Okay, let us use this one. Okay. I think this will not work. Let it be. What I will do, I will create one. I will create one function and then return it. Okay. You understand what I'm trying to do? I am just trying to uh, this else this. problem happened. Okay, now you can see this. Yeah, yeah, Venkat. Now what I did, I I had made my login as my main page. Okay. Not only that, what I did, I made this menu dynamics. Okay. Dynamic in a sense, like if I get this thing, like a user has been authenticated. So if I get this or true, then only I will populate the other menu, else I will only populate the login and registration menu. So based on your requirement, your projects, you can do anything as you wish. Okay. And then now what I have to do next? I have to set this thing. I have to set this thing when a user get logins. Okay. So where user logins are happening, it is happening in this case. Let me just copy the auth page. Okay. Yeah, yeah, yes, yes. So in this page, this was the main page, right? This was the main page where the user used to get login. So what I will do, I will set this thing, local storage dot set item. What was the name? The name was auth colon 2. You just check this thing. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Check it.
I think we have to give key comma value.
Yeah, key comma value. Just trying to see. Okay, let me check it here. Local storage set. So it's okay. Key comma value. Yeah. So it's a universal browser feature. Okay, so it will remain. Mean it will remain for every application. Okay, whether you are working in React or any other way, this way is similar to all other applications also, or all other frameworks also. And this was my data. What I will do, I will just this dot data, right? And what I did, I changed the name this to dashboard. So I will navigate it to dashboard. Okay. So now when I come here, okay, this is the old one. Let me refresh this and let me close one. Okay. When I log in this, what will happen? The form will get submitted, and then when I click OK, it will come here. Now I have to refresh it. I have to refresh it since I haven't refreshed it, hence the menu did not come. But those problem I will address on the later half. Okay. So my other things also did not come. Let me see my local storage whether my local storage got set correctly or not. Okay. So from where I can see, so I can see it from this place application, then this local storage. Okay. And if you click here, I can see two things. Okay, I have to simplify this. See what are the things? First, this auth true. Okay, and second one is this data. Data are showing in this way because uh, I have inserted the raw JSON format. So I have to save it in Stingify format. Then only it will get saved like this way. So I have to Stingify it and then I have to save. Okay, but these are the way where mean these are the way how you can set your data in your local storage in React also. Okay, and if you want to mean check it what kind of data it is. So you have to use this get. This get data, and this get data will give you the data. Where I have done that on main. So this auth, let me give this to two. Okay. It's store as a string. Okay. So when I refresh this, why it do not, why not, render method, see application method, that's not the thing. Why it is not coming? Let me see. I think it should be inside use effect. Okay. That therefore it is not coming because this problem happen if you don't give a use effect. Yeah, I have to give it inside a use effect, then only this will work. Okay. So you understood how this thing are working, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In what I need to do, I need to put this thing inside my use effect, then it will work. Okay. Let it be. It wasn't that important. I just told you uh, mm, to show you this thing. And one more thing I have done, like if you check this thing, if you check this login page, what I did in order to navigate from one page to another page, okay, through I would say through JavaScript, through JS portion or JSX portion, what we need one modules or we need one hooks. Okay, that is called use navigator hook. If you want to change from one place to another place, you have to use navigate hooks. Okay, how we can use it? Say when you check this, when I log in into this page, when I complete the login portion, then what happened? The alerts come, and then when I click OK, it navigate to dashboard, right? It navigate to the dashboard page. How it's happening? Because I have used this news navigate hook. So you have to import it from React router DOM. It is not a property of React. It is a property of React router DOM, the router library which I'm using to route the React application. Okay. And then what we have to do, we have to create a we have to initialize this function, uh, put it in some variables, and then from this variables we can change the place. Okay. If you want to send it to the dashboard, we have to give backslash. If you want to navigate it to the some other page, we have to give that page URL. Okay. So it will accept the URL to the page where we want to send, right? This is also very easy thing. Okay. Let me come to today's class. So do you know how we can pass data from one component to other component in React? Any idea?
Yeah, props through props will pass.
Props. Okay. But to pass using props, we always need one thing. I mean, they should be some related. Okay, they should be related to each other. Like there should be a parent to child relationship. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
then we can do. And suppose I have a condition. Let me for that condition. Okay. Suppose I have component one, component two, component three. Right? So we want some data like this ID. I captured it in menu, right? I had captured this IDs and all this all detail. Sorry, in login page, right? Now I need to pass it to the different places. Okay. So one way is using props, right? But the problem with props are they should be some kind of relationship, right? They should be related to each other in some way. Like if I need to pass it to component 3, then from component 1 I have to pass it to component 2, and from component 2 I have to pass it to component 3. But what would happen if I want to pass it to some other places like registration? From registration I need to pass it to some other component which are not related, like this two contact us with. Those two are not related to each other. So, you didn't think that how can we pass it in this case, or how can we have a universal data which from which we can communicate to any other place in React?
One is the context API, another one is Redux Create.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. In at start, I have already told. Like like previously, we used Redux. Okay. Redux was for this kind of thing, like to make a communication between two, I would say, unrelated component. Okay. And Redux is not just a React library, but it is a kind of universal library. Okay. So you can use it with Vue.js, Vue, Angular, okay, React, with any other framework. So Redux is a library, okay, and it is not only meant for React. It can be implemented with any other framework or any other libraries also. And as I told earlier, like with React 16.8, it gives us a new library that is called useContext. Okay. And since we are working with the new features, so we will recommend to use this. So let us see how we can do all those things, how we can drill everything. So suppose this is my parent component. Okay, I don't have anything. What I have a data, and I want to show on some places some component which are directly dependent to each other, right? So now what you see here is I am passing it through props. Yeah, let me come to new project. Today's date is 24. Okay. I, so props mean you can pass it when you declare the component, you declare will you declare a property of that component. Okay. Since I declared this as a data, so what will happen? The component where I mean the place where I write this component inside the function, I can access this data. Okay, like in child, if I go to this place in child, and those data will pass here as a property. Short form we call it as a props. So whatever name we pass, like here we pass it as data. So with the same name, we can access it. We can pass more than one property. Okay, like name. What will happen? Like similar to what we do. I mean, whenever we write an input text, input type equal to text, type equal to text, right? Name equal to name, ID equal to ID, So these are also the props, or these are also the props of these HTML tags. Okay. So similar to that, what React did, when it tell us, like when we create a component, we can also add a properties to that component. Okay, so we can give as much property as we can, and all this property, like all those things, it accessible through DOM, right? We can access document dot get element. We can access it like this element by, if we want to access id, then by this command we can access the id portion, right? So similar to this, what React tell, like where you declare your component, where you write your component, then the function of your component, the first parameters of the parameters of your component will be the property which which it will be passed from the component which use it. Okay, so in parent, what I did, I use the child component, and inside child component, I pass two property, data, name. Okay, let's make a consistent name. Okay, data and name. So what will happen in this page, in this, I would say, child page, within this props, or it's a short form of props, within these parameters that I will have all those properties. Okay, so if you want to say this, right, and if I open this, simply inspect this, console, remove everything, and this, you can see I am getting two properties. One is data, and another one is name. Okay, so that thing I can able to access through this box. So if I want to show it anything here, like this data I'm showing here, I can show it like this way. Okay, very easy. I think it's very easy thing. Now uh, we can pass it into some other components also, like the third component also, with the same way. Like if we want this data from this component to be accessible on some other place, on what I write, the grandchild place, in this place. So what I will do, I will again uh, copy my grandchild, and the similar way I will pass it, right? Data equal to box dot data, and then name equal to box dot. I did that. Now what will happen? This property again will be visible into our grandchild property. Okay, let me see those things. Close this thing first. This thing will come a later phase, right? And then we can have those data here. Props dot data, props dot name. And now if I see this page, let me close this. You can see uh, what I wrote here, like in my main page, I wrote nothing, right? I wrote nothing, but in child I wrote this thing, processing parent data, and then in grandchild I wrote processing data from grandparent, and then showing the two data, right? showing what? Showing this to hello everyone at Technophile. Okay. So in this way, we can pass data from one component to other component. But this way is is very common way, right? It's a very common way, and we used to do it in this way when we use a small application in where all the data are dependent on the parent component only, or all we have a single page, they are not getting used at multiple places, then we can make those page as a child, and then we can use it. Okay. But in real world, this thing would be different. Mean we need to send data from one place to another, or another place to some other places. We have to communicate everything. Every communication should be streamlined. Else we will see some issue. Like on first case, when I use the local storage, you have seen like like when I log in, okay, before login it was showing only two menu, login and registration. But once I log in this and give some conditions, so what happened, the rest of the menus also did not start to show properly. I can get the data, I can see everything, but I could not able to mean my website did not work as seamlessly as it have to be, because the the point of contact of data were different. Okay, when I was adding at some place, and then I was expecting the same data to get reflect on other place, that was not happening. Okay, so for that, what React does, in earlier on, React developer used to take the help of hook, but from now, what React give us one new hook, that is called use context, and I will teach you how you can use the use context. And regarding this, you understood it. It's a very easy thing. You can send as many parameter as you wish. Okay, and the place where you are sending, on that place it will come as the the function, I would say, uh, parameters, and you have to give the same name. Okay, to access those data. And if you want to send to some other component also, you can do it in this way. And this method of sending props from one component to other component is called prop drillings. Okay, so this is helpful if you have just a single relationship, and you this with this data you don't want to do anything, they are directly related, and you don't have anything else, you just need the data. Okay, and you have to utilize those data. But there are many cases where your website should be dynamic, mean due to one, I would say, set of work, your behaviors for other things should get changed. Just like the first case where I use the local storage, my menu should get updated properly. So those things are not happened, because uh, because local storage was used to work differently, and that work was differently. So now we will see like how we can attach everything. So for that, what React tell to have a global object. Okay, have a global object, and use some hook. Which hook? Use context hook. What use context hook will do, it will add and update the data on that global objects, and wherever we need it, we can import those global objects and then use it, so that all the data which are with us, it will intact for the whole application. Got the point? So let us see how we create this. How we create a an object, or I would say a variable, using use context, and how we use in our application. And for this, we don't need any relationship. We don't need any parent child relationship or child parent relationship. You can send it from anywhere. Mean from one page you can send it to another page. There are no restriction. like it should be related, or you have to pass those data from one company to another company. No restriction at all. Okay. So let us learn how we can do that. So what I will do. Okay. Okay. Now if you see this thing, and let me show you first, and then I will explain it. So how you can do it? First, you have to create some context. Okay. What I did, as I told you earlier on, we have to create some kind of global objects. Okay. So what I told, we will create some kind of global object. Okay, a global object where I will store everything. So for that, we have to create a context. Okay, I would say a container where my data will store. So for that, in React, we will write this thing. Okay, constant some name, and then this thing React mean which we get from the React, uh, create context, right? And then very important thing, like we have to export this thing. So export mean what? Once I give export here, it means this data will be accessible to every places, to all the places. Okay. Any question here? Why I did this? With this, I created one global object. That global object will be accessible to every place. Okay. And then in order to check whether user is authentic or not, I created one state. Okay. Or true or false. First, I have to put it false. It means user are not authentic, means user haven't logged in into our system. Correct? Okay. And then what you need to do, if you want this context to be universal, mean you can use it at any places, then you have to pass it in this way. Name context is the name which we have given this. Okay. Name context dot provider means you are providing the name for this. What is the name? You have to give value, and inside this you can pass the value. Okay. Since I had used the state, I want to bind this with React state, so that if I log in, then those menu will appear, and if I log out, then those menu will disappear. So for that, I have passed the state array, so that I can add this state also from any other places. Okay, Venkat, any question here? What I am trying to do?
Yeah, no, no question. Actually, I am familiar with this one.
Okay, 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 okay. Okay.
That
So the
you are,
problem which I have seen in the first case, those problems will get resolved with this. Okay. So I'm making this context as a global context, and then from here I will update it and anything I can. So so we have this, and one important thing, like we have to export the context, so that I can use this context to the from the different places. So Therefore, when we declare it, we have to export it also. Okay. Now I have created this context here, and then uh, if it's the main context, mean you want this thing, you want this object to be accessible to all the places. Always put it inside your app, so that this would be a global context. And if you see Redux also, it use the same concept. Concept is almost same, but some methods are different. Okay, it also use the similar way, like it also pass it from your uh, root of your application. So you have to cover your root of your application with that context which you have provided with dot provider. Okay. And then in any places, if you want to update this thing, or if you want to read this thing, then you can do it like this. Let me show you. I am in grandchild. Okay, I am in grandchild, and now I want to add or update this thing. So first thing, what you have to do, you have to use this two things. First, the use context hook. Okay, you have to use the use context hook, and you have to include the context which you have created to hold your data. Like it was in my app, and name was name context, so I have included the name context hook from the app. Mean, in what I am doing, I am including this thing into my app. Okay, the name context which I have mentioned here. So we have those things, and now in order to maintain the state of the application, mean, so that if I click it somewhere, it will affect uh, on some other pages also. So in order to give those kind of effects, mean mean what I did, I have passed it. I have used this thing as a state, right? So in order to use it, since I have declared it as a state, I am using this also as a state, and then you have to pass those content in inside your use context hook. Okay, this thing is very important. Once you use this thing, it means you had made this context which you have created in your app.js as a global context, and this thing would be available to all the places, which include, I would say, which use I would where we write this 1 2 and line number 5. And why we had used the state? Because we had used this auth token inside a state, so that it get merged with the React state, and whenever we change on one place, that will reflect on the other places also. Okay, like what I did, if you check this thing, I have declared this value as false. Mean, inside this this place, right? What I did, I declared this auth value as false, but when I go to grandchildren, and they are not dependent at all, right? But I can see what value those auth token has been. I have been provided earlier. We see, okay, you can see this thing, right? This auth has been false. It means the data are getting from our app.js, whatever thing I have declared in my app.js, the data are coming from there, and then it is getting populated here. Got it? If you want to
Yes,
see some more thing, if I put it here, and instead of true false, if I give some name here, okay, see those data are coming here. So this is a very important way where you can pass data from one place to another. And one more thing, what I did here, inside my grandchild, what I did on click, I set the auth token. Okay, okay. Set the auth token. Mean if earlier it was true, I set it to false. Okay, and what will happen if auth token is true? I am showing here logout. If auth token is false, I am showing login. So with this thing, you can do rest of the thing. Like, let me show you with the example. What I was trying to say, like, you can not only pass the data from one component to other, but you can also update those data. Okay, from one component to another. Mean this ought true or false. It was declared false in my app.js, but since I binded it with our state property, so instead of update, now I can use this and update these properties from our grand, grandchild. Okay, this button is inside our grandchild, which don't have any kind of relationship, but I can update it from here. And based on this, I can show the different thing. I can show the different thing. Okay, I can use it at any place of my wish, and I can utilize and change other things. Okay, like I can use it inside menu. Mhm. I can use it inside menu. Okay, okay, and then I will have this value. Right? Have this value. And then what I am doing the same thing. I can change this login to logout. Okay, so see if it is true, then if it is false, then it is coming as login. And if I click here, see, I can access the menu also, right? So since I bind it into the state, hence everything got binded with the state. Okay, so based on this, you can remove or show any menu, or you can pass data from one place to another place. When you can have your global objects here, you can have your global state objects here. Okay, in your main page app.js, it should be your global state objects or anything, and inside that object, I generally prefer, instead of this variable, it should be some kind of object where you will keep all the data which you want it to be used on different places. Okay, don't make it too heavy. Mm,
Yeah,
try to make this thing as light as you can. Okay, if
if
you
we,
make this thing too heavy, then
because I
your application, yes.
understood this one actually, but I have a doubt. How I understood this context API why we are using, because to work on the props drilling issue, instead of sending any information for each and every child in between parent and grandparent
Mhm.
like that.
Mhm. You
But
can.
the thing is, what the thing that I didn't understand is how you are making that when you are clicking on login, logout, then it is showing login, logout pages. That can you please explain on?
Yeah, yeah. See, on click of button, what I am doing, I am set, since it's actually state, right?
Yeah, yeah, okay,
This
yeah,
auth and set auth is a state. So if I change this value, it will change to alternative name, right?
yeah, yeah,
and and this is the way I have told you, like if you want to update a state, the best way is to have a previous value, right? And then what I'm doing, I am just changing it. Mean not previous mean if it is true, then making it false. If it is false, making it true.
That I understood, but after that, how it is
Okay.
navigating to login and login, how it is showing
Yeah.
path.
Okay. Here what I did, I since this auth is bind with the state, so if the state value change, React read ender, and this value will also get changed, right? So if it
Yeah,
is
yeah.
true, then it shows log out. If it is false, then shows login. Now go to the
Okay.
menu portion. Menu
Yeah,
portion says,
login, logout. Okay, login, logout. Those are just we are showing only uh, login, logout strings, but it's not pages, right?
yeah, if you want to have those also, you can easily have that those also, or those here also. Okay. Like for login, for auth, you will show this navigations. Let me change. And then if you are log out, you will see this. Today the class will be very short. We'll hear only. Okay, some emergency came up in my home, and
Okay.
in this way we will resolve our issue which we have seen uh, with uh, with with those local
Okay,
storage.
just
Okay.
we are updating auth prop and auth state, and based on auth, whatever we have to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
whatever
So
links we can put.
yes, yes, yes. So you can see, since auth is false, I can see this link only. Once I do the login, okay, auth become true. You can see the login and registration link went off. Understand?
One second, can you please click on
Yeah.
that one?
Now login and
Login,
registration.
registration, page nation, and parent child. Okay.
Okay. When I click on login, the auth become true, right? The state got maintained, and those login registration gone
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah, got it, got it.
what I told in, yeah. So understandable.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's on, then make login. Else, I think this is it. I think with React, this is the most, I would say, important part. This is context. Either use is context, or use context, or use I would say Redux. So since we are with React, so it's highly advisable to use context. Okay, since it's the new property, or the property which has been recommended by the React. It is for React, so we should use this. And this is where we can bind it everything, and we can pass the data also. Only one thing you should keep in mind: don't grow this JSON to an infinite levels. Okay, grow this thing as lesser level as you can, or those things which are very important, like some ID, some yes or no kind of thing, or some token. Don't have too much of values. Okay,
Okay.
unless it is very necessary to store here, because it will be in your memory, and for the whole application. Okay.
Okay.
And I think that's it. This is React, and these are the features of React. And next, everything you will learn with the time being. Okay.
Yeah.
And in this thing, what I did, I added the pagination features also. Okay, so you can see those things, like how I have implemented, and if you have any question, you can ask for that also. Okay. I think that you can find in this page. But I have something emergency, so I have to go back. Okay. And if you copy, if you see this thing, this is I would say almost the copy of uh, the another pagination's work which I have done, like some details kind of thing. Yeah, this user list. Okay. So it's just a copy of that thing, but few thing I have added, like in order to maintain the pagination sets, I have maintained this thing. Okay, just 5 or 6 lines, and then uh, rest you will see everything are fine. Instead of looping the whole data, I am looping the records, which I found. And what I did, I sliced everything in some bunch, in the bunch of 10 array, and then I have uh, this is similar thing, and then this previous and next function. When what I'm showing, those slices, from those slices I'm showing those data only. If you go through this, you will be able to understand this thing. I think I have to stop today class, stop till here. Okay, just
Yeah, Firdous, can I have your number, please? If I have any doubts, I will ping in WhatsApp. Or,
yeah, let me stop this sharing and recording.
okay.
Thank you.